The last few days I've been really chilly, so I've been spending most of my time drinking nice hot cups of tea. And I thought for the start of today, we would do actually a simmer pot to maybe get the whole house smelling nice and cozy. So what I have to add to the simmer pot, orange slices. I just did whole orange slices this time. Whole cloves, just a sprinkling of nutmeg, and whole cinnamon sticks, as well as a sprig of fresh pine. And I'll just let that boil and simmer, and I'll check on it every once in a while, and hopefully it'll smell nice and fresh. Why don't we move into the craft room while we let this simmer, and we will go over what we're gonna do for day 2 of Craftsmas, which includes tatting. Before we dive right into tatting, I thought it'd be nice for us to light this scented candle first today so I can enjoy it while I'm doing my full crafting. So I might also still continue lighting the first one depending on how this second day of Christmas's candle scent works with the first one. Okay, so what do we have? Warm vanilla. Oh my gosh, this smells so nice. I'm definitely lighting both of them together. Today I'm going to be using another pattern from the Antique Pattern Library, just like we did on day 1, except we're not going to be crocheting, we're tatting today. For the cotton that I'll be using, this is again Knit Picks Curio number 10. I like this the best to work with. I have tried working with smaller, but the friction is just insane, and my eyes hurt looking at such small work. So number 10 is perfect for me, and the free pattern I'm going for is actually, I believe, a Victorian or Edwardian pattern. I'll put it up on the screen, and I'll leave a link in the description down below. This isn't necessarily a set of patterns for snowflakes, it's more just doily patterns, but I thought that I could make just the center of the medallions or doilies and use those as ornaments on my tree. And I will be using the rice starch I made last time to also stiffen these a little bit. So why don't we go ahead and dive in, and I will just start with one of the 3 that I chose. Let's get to tatting. If you've never heard of tatting before, there are 2 ways to do tatting. One is called shuttle tatting, the other is called needle tatting. I've never tried needle tatting, but in my, oh my gosh, Nutella, not where the candles are. I personally never tried needle tatting myself, but in my previous videos where I show shuttle tatting, others have said that needle tatting might be a little bit easier, but I enjoy shuttle tatting, so that's what I'll stick with. Tatting is basically a series of knots, which makes it a little bit harder to undo if you notice any mistakes, and I make plenty of mistakes when I tat. In my opinion, it doesn't stand out so much. So anyway, I've chosen 3 medallions from this pattern book, and I'm going to start with this first one. It's meant as a full doily, and I don't think I'm going to do the full outer edge. I think I'm only going to do the inside ring of it because it might be a little too big for what I'm thinking about doing. So I'm going to start at least with just doing the inner sides of it and then see how big that is. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to create the center circle, which is a series of 8 picots separated by 1 double stitch each. Speaking of mistakes, I have already made a few, but it's okay. I mean, it still works, and I still think that this is going to turn out super cute. The second round is now done of this little snowflake, and it's time to join in a second thread. So I've got my shuttle thread, and then I'm going to have the thread coming off of my yarn ball. It's pretty common in more complex designs to have 2 threads that you are tatting with. But of the ones that I chose, this is the only one where you need 2 threads. So if you're looking at doing maybe some medallions that are easier, maybe try looking at the second 2 patterns that I chose, which is only with the shuttle or needle thread. Also, I'm doing antique designs because that's what I like to do, but there are plenty of modern designs out there and tutorials out there for making tatted snowflakes. I think tatting is one of the least expensive hobbies to take up, and there's lots of video tutorials. I learned from a Victorian written instructions, which was a little bit more difficult, but the video tutorials are really clear. So I think this, if you're looking at taking up like a new craft, I think tatting is a great one. Very low investment, and you can make a ton of really cute things. So let's join in the second thread, and then I should be 1 or 2 more rounds, and then this little snowflake will be done. My first little tatted ornament is done, and I think that it looks so cute. I love it. So I did decide not to do the final round. I think that this is a really good size for this tatted ornament, and I've spent about an hour and a half getting to this point, so not too long, but I do want to try out some of the other patterns. So I'm gonna say that this is perfect as is, and I will start on my second one now. I do also want to give these a little bit of a starch. I don't think it has to be a soaking starch like what I did for the crochet ornaments, because it does keep its shape a little bit better, but I'll probably iron it with some starch on top just so that it stands really nice and stiff on the tree. I was reading some of your comments yesterday, and it was really funny to me because someone said that in the past their grandmother used sugar to stiffen the ornaments and decorations, and they would lick them because they were sweet, although sometimes it wasn't sugar that was used, and I can imagine that that doesn't taste quite as good. I would have to keep that away from Nutella though, because she would definitely start snacking on my snowflakes. All right, let's do the second ornament, and the second one is just a single thread tatted one. So I don't need to have 2 separate threads to work on this one. It's just going to be the one on my shuttle. Okay, I have been working a little bit on my second ornament, and you might be a little bit surprised as to what that looks like. And it looks like this right now, which you might notice is a lot more linear than the circle ornament that's shown in kind of the picture. And I think that this is really fascinating. I wasn't expecting this at all. I thought that this would be worked circularly from the center out, just like all the other doilies and motifs that I've worked in tatting before. But this one is slightly different. So you do work it kind of almost as if it were a trim, and you make really long picots here on the inside edge. And what's going to happen is that this is going to come all the way around together, and you're going to run a thread through the center ones and pull that tight. So I'll show you how I do that, but first I need to get to 20 repeats here. So how many am I at? I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 2 more, and then I can draw this one up and this one will be done. I like this one the best so far. I've been watching Claude's Claudemas videos, and this has been really fun. It's a little bit more mindless than tatting usually is for me. I usually have to do so much counting and keeping track. So this has been a really nice project to work on, to be able to also focus on watching some videos that I'm really enjoying. Okay, so 2 more repeats, and then let's figure out how to do the drawing together of this whole piece. The third doily pattern that I decided to make into an ornament was also a one string tatted ornament. However, I really don't recommend doing this one because the outside row is each individual piece tatted separately, so I have so many ends to weave in, which I personally really don't like to do. But once they were all woven in, I sprayed it with some of the rice starch that I made the other day and ironed them nice and hot and let those dry fully. After some starching, I think the 3 tatted ornaments look wonderful. I highly recommend trying this out if you are at all interested in tatting. They were really fun and pretty quick to make. I can't wait to decorate with those as well as the crochet ornaments. For the next installment of Craftmas, it'll be Saint Nick. So we have a little bit of a special craft / treat for someone planned for then. So I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.